It's 2025. Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about my all-in-one diary planner and journal. It's the only book that I use all year. It's my Hobonichi Cousin, which I've used for the past 9 years. So this is my 2024 one. I also have these other ones. I'm not going to show you them today, but these are some of the ones that I've used in the past. So that's a bit heavy. Here's just a few of them, so they're quite hefty. I think they're a good few kilos by themselves. For 2024 diary too. I drew a lot this year, but it did get to about double its starting weight, about 850 grams. This in comparison is this year's 2025 diary, so you can see how much it's expanded. It's not easy filling it every day, but it is worth it. You can see how your style changes over the year. I don't pre-decorate or anything, but I just do whatever suits the day or whatever that I was preoccupied with. So I try new ideas and layouts. Let me start off by showing you each of the 2024 sections. So first, the yearly section. So I know most people use this as a tracker, but for me, I just use my phone for that type of thing, or I draw one up in the weekly section when I need it, like at the top there. But for me instead, I may use this for more of a fun kind of use. So it's the covers of a weekly Japanese pro wrestling magazine. So I print out stickers out with my printer and I stick them out here. It kind of looks cool once you filled it all up. So that's the whole year done. Maybe you could try something similar like this by sticking in a year's worth of sunrises and sunsets, or something really cool would be the view out the window for the whole year. So you could do maybe once a week or once a fortnight and then stick them in here, and then you'd have a really nice overview of the year. Okay, next one is the monthly section. Mine is pretty rudimentary. I don't really do anything particularly exciting, I guess. I started off the year with a lot of New Year stickers. But basically, I mark off every 3 weeks on there. I put in appointments. I put in shows that I want to watch as a reminder, basketball schedules, when lunches are. That's pretty much what it looks like. It's not anything really grand or anything. That's pretty much just my planning part, and that's enough for me really. I don't really need anything else. If I have a few events, I'll just list them all down in the same square. To-dos, just go on phone and I just mark them off there, because speaking from experience, I generally don't look at to-dos from 5 years ago. It's not terribly exciting, so I've written on them in here, but I've never really looked at them. They're not terribly exciting. Or also just print out a blank list from the Download City page on the Hobonichi website, and then I stick that into the book with double-sided tape. So for example, there's a basketball schedule. I just add a little page in. I tried making a list for the month on the side, but I found that it didn't really work for me. Let me show you an example. Yeah, so I listed places that I'd want to go that month, things that I wanted to do, and then projects that I wanted to do. But then I find out that they take a little bit longer to complete. So half the time I don't have enough time during the month. So it ends up being a longer project. So it's better part of the My 100, putting that in there, or making a longer term list with that to-do list. Next I'll talk about the weekly section. So I started out doing it like using the vertical section quite normally. It's not very filled in, I think, because it's like one or two things that I need to do, but nothing terribly complex. I probably don't need the entire 24-hour thing to mark off. And also I found that if I was writing things in it, that's probably the prettiest page, it'd get to the point where my handwriting wasn't small enough, and then I just have to keep having to do like a dash to put the rest of the word on the next line. So it's hard for me to write whole words on there. And then I found an example on the Hobonichi website where a user turned it into like a tracker and such. So they turned the page around sideways, a bit like this. Then they put like a little tracker up the top, some meals, the date, put weather and how many steps I did. Then put the day's events plus a couple of good things listed. So I adapted it. So I've been doing that. I was doing that since about August. And then I kept doing that all the way through to the end of the year. So I pretty much dropped the tracker part. I started using a date stamp here because it's easier to view. So if I'm looking for a date, it's much bolder. And then I added a day stamp as well. They're both from Midori, I believe. Yeah, I've dropped the tracker part. I've got this big blank space here now, so maybe I'll find something else to do with that. So since I've got some extra blank space to play with now, but I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with it. Oh, I did try and track a drama here. Otherwise it's going to be the same thing, the day's events, and then two good things, which I marked off with friction stamps. And the two good things can be anything, so like tasty food, something silly or funny for the day's events. If I'm feeling off, I kind of mention it here and trying to kind of understand why, or write down the circumstance, because later on I might come back and read it, and then I might have the benefit of hindsight to understand what was going on then, and then process why I would feel that way. So I guess that's my kind of reflection section. Daily pages is where I have the most fun. Just like I like drawing movie scenes and sketching the day's events, pasting things in as well. Just anything that comes to mind, you know. I also like to draw fan art. I like to paste things in there, print stuff out, stick photos in. I like to try out my markers, basically anything. Put in flyers and some movie artwork. Yeah, anything that comes to mind. So now I like to go on to my 100 page. This year I split it into half. So I split it into the dramas and movies that I watched, and I easily went over 50 for that. And then the other half of the page was like things that I wanted to do. My want to do list is not that exciting, so I'll probably try a new format this year. In the timetable section, I filled it in with a episode guide to a favorite drama that I rewatch sometimes. The favorites page, I haven't actually filled this out yet, but what I think I'll do is I'm going to write down the things that I purchased in 2024 that were really useful, like a good rice cooker, because a good rice cooker is always essential. I added a page called My Favorite Things, which I think was in last year's book, but it's also available on Download City. So I got my nephews and niece to fill it out in exchange for like white chocolate bribery. And I think in future it'll be interesting to look back on, since they're only like kids right now. And then the 365 days check-off list or sheet. I try to use it as a page completion sheet, like a colouring the days in that were completed, but I barely completed like 3 weeks. I think it's still good for a yearly habit. Maybe I could do something that I would try and do for like 365 days, like stretching or maybe taking a walk. So I'll have to think about that one. Next, let me show you the accessories I used on my 2025 Techo. Oops. So the main ones I would recommend is this Midori Codex clear cover, which I use when I'm just like, I guess, commuting, and I don't want to get my nice covers like these dirty. I mean, you can put a cover on top of that, but sometimes it's also a bit bulky. So I like to use a lightweight cover like this. And the Codex is good because my cousin, usually by the end of the year, is very thick. If you use it for this book, it will totally fit, as long as when you put the belt seal on, you allow for a bit of room. So what I've done is affix the belt seal to the front and back of it, and then when you carry this around, even if you have a 850-gram tronker of a book, you can still carry it around, and it'll fit in a small bag or a medium-sized bag like that. Oops. And then the belt seal will just hold it in place like that. So that's pretty big, but that's also very compact at the same time. So that's what I'll be using when I'm walking around with this in my bag. The other favorite accessory that I like is these Midori Index Label Satin tabs, because last year I used the same brand Midori Chirato tabs, which are really small, but I find that because I carry it around so much, I just basically like trash the tabs a bit. They're fine because they're just little plastic ones, but they look a little bit worse for wear. These tabs are, I guess they're like ribbons, so they're quite flexible. They're a lot bigger, but I do have a lot of them stored up because when I see them, I just stash a few. So I've got quite a few to use up, so I might as well just put them on the book. And then finally, they're all from Midori for some reason. I've been using these index clips because previously I was using paper tabs and they are all kind of bent, of course. I mean, periodically I just replace them, but I find that I like to have, I don't really use the bookmarks so much. I could use the bookmarks, but sometimes because I'm using the clear cover, I don't have any bookmarks in me. So I use these index clips instead to hold like one page. So one for quick access for the monthly, and then one for quick access to the weekly is enough for me. Let me go through the changes in my 2025 Techo, because my usage is pretty much the same as last year's, but I have a couple of things that I want to change. For example, the monthly cover pages. I've never really used them very much. I usually just end up sticking like fruit stickers on there. Let me show you an example. What's an example? There's a plant tag here that I didn't want to lose. Let's just pictures in a sticker. A collage of stickers and some magazine photos. Oh, I tried to do a habit tracker, and then I also wrote down some places I wanted to go and a brief to-do list and fruit stickers. Did I mention fruit stickers? And some good things. Oh, here I put a playlist, the month's playlist, and more fruit stickers. So for 2025, I'm thinking to use the monthly page as somewhere to note the drama episodes that I've watched, because I often don't finish them, so it'd be nice to keep a track of where I'm up to, because I often forget and I'll leave a drama and then don't watch it for a few months and I can't remember where I left off, or I can't remember what I've watched at all. So it might encourage me to actually finish them, and then maybe just do a list of the movies watched as well. And then for my 100, because I've seen examples where people split it up into categories. So like in the English version, it's a bit bigger. I think the Japanese version is only one page and then split into 3 or 4 columns. But for the English version, you get a lot more space, which is great because I have big handwriting sometimes. So I've seen examples where people split it into categories. So you could split into like life, travel, stationery, something else. Another idea I've seen is to use the columns in split up into months. So for example, this first one would be January to March, then April to June, which I think is actually a good idea because things you like to do sometimes change throughout the year, right? So your interests might change too, so you're not locked into the same 100 things that you've written down, and then you can account for that. And you can also review your goals or what things you want to do every 3 months, so I kind of like that idea. Next I'm going to go through words to remember, because I actually have trouble with that. I think I only wrote down 2 things last year, and I can't think of enough things in general, but there are actually 12 slots, so there's space for 1 for each month. So I was thinking to use it for something else, like put in a favourite song of the month, and you could put like the cover of it, or put in a favourite Animal Crossing villager, like an employee of the month or something. So I'm going to think about this one. So that's a look at my setup for 2025. What are you looking forward to recording in your Techo this year? Were any of these suggestions useful for you? Leave me a comment and I'll reply back to you. So thank you for watching and happy 2025. Bye.